Hello, my name is Ryan Summers, and I wrote and produced the song Always Standing By. And today I'm going to talk about the making of this project. We thank the Creator for our time today. Let's get started. It started a few years ago when my wife and I relocated from Florida to Pennsylvania. We were invited to come check out this church in Quarryville, Pennsylvania called Encounter. And we came and got integrated into the church pretty quickly. One of our first experiences in worship here was when a particular group was on stage together. And that was Travis Mast, who is the worship director, worship leader here, playing guitar. And then singing with him also was Kierstyn Conn and Julius Brown. And I just remember listening to Julius and Kierstyn sing together and working through a couple of these songs and just being blown away by just how well they sounded together. And it just gave me a lot of ideas. And I took out my phone and just recorded the worship for a little bit, and I leaned over to my wife and I said, I'm gonna have songs for these two. And I didn't know how long that would take, but I just felt like these are voices that I wanna write for and produce for. And that's what really started the whole thing. So a few months down the line, I really started to focus a lot on the story of Moses and how God just used this man with an obvious communication obstacle to lead a nation is just it's always been wild and inspiring to me. From that point, I just started turning over these lines for this first verse. I don't speak well, and your people need direction. I'm out of touch, but you decide positions. And I started to turn these lines over, and then I thought, I think there's something here. I had a really good idea for the melody, but I didn't really know initially where that song might go. Going through the different stories in the Bible, I settled on just these three really focal points to me that stood out, where Israel was, at the verge of just being segregated enough to be blown off the map entirely. And God essentially called these three unique people in their limitation and brought authority into that circumstance and created a great miracle out of the result of that. And Israel thrived, out of those moments. So I settled on the second character being Gideon and the third character, especially for Kierstyn, being Esther. And it's the first time I've ever done this, but I wrote the song and started working through the parts 3 verses at a time, side by side. And I really wanted this symmetry to carry between, the different verses. And the symmetry of where they come from and what God elevates them to, You raise up partners and break new ground. You raise up farmers with light and sound. You raise up orphans and give them crowns. I didn't know these three individuals, Travis and Julius and Kierstyn as well, or very well, when we started. But part of the fun of this process was really getting to know them and hearing what's on their heart for worship and where my heart is. And we really connected, I think, on a really deep spiritual level. These are people that worship God because they love God and they have an amazing relationship with Jesus, and they just want to sing about it and talk about it. They are worshipers first and performers second. Julius comes in, we talk for 2 hours, then we record for several more hours, just getting to know each other, aligning in the spirit where we want this to go. And then he just delivers this incredible performance. Kierstyn comes in, we talk for a couple hours. We eventually get around to recording her parts. The icing on the cake was toward the end, wanting to have these soprano vocals, on top of the choir that the other three of us had put together, and bringing Brooke Tweddell in to record for an afternoon. And Brooke came in and recorded these soprano vocals on top of everything else that we had done. In this scenario, I was after a creative achievement, but it was going to take a lot of relationship building and alignment in our beliefs, to ultimately get there. And the relationships that I forged with each of these people who are my friends and who have great, creative output was just really rewarding, in my life. I think there are these stages that you work through in music where you can stop at any stage and call it a song, and that's fine. But if you just press into this one section a little bit more, it's a little bit more impactful of a song. And if you increase and grow the song from section to section, there's something more to look forward to and to experience in that. In this journey of developing a song, it needs to go somewhere for me. I want it always to, the next verse needs to go somewhere new. The next chorus needs to take it somewhere new. The bridge needs to go somewhere new. So it was a really rewarding experience. I hope that it is an inspiration to you, that the message is an inspiration to you, that the Spirit of God is the kingdom on earth, and you bring that Spirit into the circumstances that you are involved in. And He is always standing by to inject the authority into your limitation when you feel like you are less than adequate. And when you are feeling less than adequate, that's when the miracle is going to happen. And it's just the experience of God in these vastly creative moments. If we would just surrender our circumstances to the most creative being that has ever existed, there's probably a solution that we haven't thought of, right? And that's just what this song confronts us with. It confronts us with an opportunity for great creative elevation and restoration by the Father in our circumstances when we just surrender them and say, yes, this is yours now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I hope it's a blessing to you.